On this episode, Tommy discusses a new tank mix comparison chart that just came out. Click the link in the description to read more. Turk discusses our current and future markets as well as what we should be watching for from China in our current trade. Joe talks about the upcoming weather forecast for this summer. Check us out on TikTok.
Hi, this is Joe Mershman. Welcome to Cup of Joe, episode number 25, season 3. Today we have Tommy and Turk. Ben is actually getting married today, so we thought we'd give him the day off, right?
Taking the plunge.
Anyhow, let's start with Tommy.
Okay. So actually got a really good email this week, actually, from the person to my right here, from Joe Mershman, and he forwarded this on from Corteva. And this is a really good, and we'll post this on here with Alex, but this is a really good trait or comparison chart of the differences between Extend and Enlist here for in-crop use with the chemicals. So they kind of go back and forth as far as what you can and can't do with both products. So in-crop dicamba herbicides may require more passes through the field as they cannot be tank mixed with glufosinate. In-crop dicamba can only be mixed with K-salt glyphosate, so it only has to be a specific glyphosate that has the K-salt in it. Enlist, obviously you can tank mix with glufosinate and glyphosate. Obviously the Enlist Duo product does already contain the glyphosate in it. So, and then here we go with the comparison of the tank mixing with the AMS. So obviously with dicamba herbicides you cannot be tank mixed with any AMS, and with Enlist you can tank mix with qualified AMS products, which there's quite a few of them. We've talked about those in past episodes. And then for this new drift reduction adjuvant, with the comparisons, the VRA and the DRA is what they're kind of volatility reduction adjuvant and drift reduction adjuvant. You have to have both of those in for that product. Comparing to what the regulations that have been set in place now. So with the Enlist products, they are not required at all. So obviously what this chart, for me, and we've sent it off to kind of let everybody else know about it too, but the cost savings in the one product versus the other, the ease of use for one product versus the other is very relevant and very eye-opening in this little comparison chart here. So we'll have that posted, but that's just something to remember when you guys are still thinking about maybe some of these farmers are on the fence or just quite haven't decided, or maybe they're trying to get their cost per acre down. This is a pretty quick place that you could find some extra dollars to save here.
We're hearing people all the time saying that they didn't realize that they cannot spray certain products with dicamba, and I don't think that information is getting out there. I mean, I know that everybody's required to have that training, and I haven't even heard a lot of that training going on. Have you?
No, I've not heard hardly any training going on. I know there has been a few Zoom training things going on, but I think as maybe the country starts opening up a little bit more and we get closer to the springtime, there's going to be a lot of these field training going on with all these tank mixes and clean outs and everything else, because it's going to be something new again for that product.
And it's very complex.
Very complex.
And keep in mind, it's still being reviewed by the courts. There could still be a ruling to vacate the label just when you need it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and we'll have this posted up. But again, it really puts them right next to each other, and it kind of shows you the ease of use again versus the headaches on one side. So,
very good, Tommy. Yeah, great information.
I have not heard any more updates on that Arizona court case either.
Nope, it's we'll just sitting there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So who knows when they're going to call that one.
I think they've been a little busy with other things here lately. So.
Could be. Anything else, Tommy?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Congratulations, Ben.
Turk?
I was just going to talk about the markets still. You can still get $4 for December corn, for new crop corn, and I think that's something to be looking at. The markets have kind of taken a step back this week for several factors. Again, that report's we talked about, maybe it was there would be a setback after that report that came out, and it appears that is what's going on. China did not meet their phase 1 requirements that were set in there. It seems like they just quit buying all of a sudden after it appeared that they would not have to deal with Trump anymore. And
we should mention Peter Zion, who's an expert in geopolitical things, and we heard him speak this week, and he just said, don't count on China for the future. They will only buy from the U.S. when everybody else, their cupboard is bare. In other words, they're coming to the U.S. only because they have to.
Right.
And that's his opinion anyhow. So
trying to build their hog herd, trying to
Yep.
feed their people. It's until they get their situation under control, they have to come to the rest of the world, and we will be the supplier of last resort.
And it appears that Great Britain may be another preferred trading partner, like Canada and Mexico. Those are going to be the three biggies that are going to drive agriculture. But it also indicated that Peter Zion also indicated that agriculture is still the place to be. I mean, it looks very strong because of this. We're going to need 50% more protein by 2050.
Yeah,
It's a huge number.
Yeah.
So in other words, farmland is going to probably continue to go up. A lot of interest in farmland. We saw Bill Gates now, the largest farmer, landowner, whatever you want to call it, in the U.S. So tells you that and sustainability is going to be carbon credits. All that's going to come into play. And the markets are just going to all fit together. But still, agriculture is still the place to be.
Yep. Still number one place to has the brightest future of all aspects of the U.S. ag economy, or the U.S. economy, period. Speaking of cash rents going up, I see there was another new entity that came to the market this week, or at least brought to my attention this week, called Cash Rent. It's a marketplace for farmers to go look for cash that's posted, and for landlords to post their land. It's called Cash Rent. It's out of Illinois, and so it's interesting. We could put that link up as well if anybody's interested in looking at that. But I was on there looking around, and they've got quite a bit of land that looks like if somebody wants to. I didn't see any real big acreages, but lots of 80 acres and small acreages, it looked like, but might be your neighbor.
Cashrent.com?
Cashrent, yep, .com.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Kind of like what Tillable was doing, just a little bit different than Tillable, but another one, I guess is what I'm saying is, if somebody has success doing one thing, there's liable to be more people try it. So,
right.
But
Interesting.
But back to markets, soybeans again took a hit, and they're down. They're not down $1 from their highs, but they're approaching that in some places. So again, you can still get $11.50 for new crop November soybeans. You can still get $11.50, and in July is still in the teens. There's still a 13 in front of July. So if you haven't taken advantage of some of these prices that we've been offered, take a look at it. Don't let them get away completely. I mean, this doesn't come along all the time, and several terminals are actually paying a premium.
Yeah, you look at the basis, yes.
Yeah, the basis. So on the premium over futures. So, and even new crop looks very strong on basis compared to normal. So don't overlook these. I keep harping that, and I just don't want to.
Can't say you weren't warned, right?
Yeah, well, we opportunities like this do not come along very often in anybody's career.
That's right. Well, this week we sat in on our Independent Professional Seed Association virtual meeting, and we were exposed to a lot of new information. But the one that I focused most on was the weather, because I like to know what the weather's going to do, because positioning our production and everything that we do right now, making plans. And the speaker was talking about analog weather versus the computer models and whatnot. And this is based on analog, which analog means basically history. In other words, studying the cycles and the trends. And what he pointed out was with a La Nina, which is when the ocean temperatures off the equator in South America down there, when they are cooler than normal, which is what a La Nina does, you don't get as much evaporation. And he explained it In 2019, we were under El Nino, and it says it's called the Bathtub Effect. And if any of you ever drew a hot bath in your bathroom there, and you get all that humidity, and what happens? You get a foggy mirror, and you get everything gets a little damp, and that puts all that moisture in the atmosphere, which then drifts up towards the Midwest, and consequently we get a lot of rain. If you remember 2019, it was wet, wet, wet. Well, now we're in La Nina, which is cooler temperature, so we don't have as much evaporation. And he said this is something you can look up on ocean temperatures and track it, but we're not going to get as much evaporation. And plus, then there's also another thing that's tied to it, and that's sunspot activity. And sunspot activity right now is very low, so we tend not to get as many. We tend to get more clouds in this situation because of the cosmic rays, so which blocks the sun to heat up the temperatures of the ocean. So a lot of things going on there that he's talking about. But at the end of the day, after he talked about these various factors, he went ahead and made his analog predictions for this year, and he clearly shows that the western corn belt is going to be very dry. And so it started in April. We're looking at a warmer April and average rainfall. May is going to be drier and warmer. Then we go into June. We're going to be warm temperatures, average moisture, and then July it's just going to be warm and dry. So overall, the tendency this year for the corn belt is going to be, according to analog data, is going to be a drier and warmer temperatures because of La Nina and not as much evaporation of the ocean water, and also the way the clouds and everything are forming. So we thought we'd just pass that along, and we will be able to get his presentation, and if we get permission to do it next week, we'll put it on there, and you can watch the whole thing and draw your own conclusions on it. But it's an interesting presentation using analog data, and we thought we'd pass that along. The other interesting note is in a La Nina year, you tend to have more hail and more tornadoes. So this might be the year to consider, because you get these extremes, even though we're drier and everything, but when we get something, it's pretty violent. So this may be the year you want to buy hail insurance, and when you think, well, it's going to be warmer and drier, don't need hail. Well, it's actually the tendency for hail goes up because of when these moisture fronts come through, they can tend to be got more energy to work with because of the heat. So I'll pass that along with you. But overall, the tendency is that the meeting was very optimistic about agriculture, about the demand, the fact that we have this great land. And the other thing we did see from the Land Expo that one of the speakers said, the peak on land was 2013, and it was prime Illinois and Iowa farmland. The best of the best back then was selling for $13,000 an acre, and he was predicting land to go up $1,500 to $2,000 an acre for prime real estate, the best of the best. So that puts it close to $15,000 an acre. And I just heard this week that there was a piece just across the river in Illinois that sold for $14,700. So that prediction's coming true real fast. So that's good and bad, I guess, depending upon if you're a buyer or a seller, right? Yeah, we just want to pass along that, and Turk, one of our customers, Brad Friesmar, said he saw a dead skunk. You know what our saying is about that. When you see a dead skunk in the middle of the road, that's because their breeding cycle has started, and the males start to look for females, and they're not watching the traffic, and they get ran over. And when you start seeing dead skunks in the middle of the road, it's 6 to 8 weeks we could be in the field. And I told Turk that Bill Brewer, our salesman that lives near Indianola, just south of Des Moines, he saw one a month ago. And I just think we got a couple overachievers, Turk. I mean, they're just scouting the opportunities, And
Could be.
Could be.
There's always a few of them out there.
But yeah, when you see that dead skunk out in the middle of the road, you know that the gestation period for skunks has started, and they typically have their young when conditions are positive. So I'm still predicting an early spring. I said that in our prediction episode in January, in the first episode in January. So I'm still predicting early spring. So get your seed on order early and get it delivered. One last thing that's not as positive, if you don't have anything else to add, we are raising our price on soybeans effective February 1st, and it has nothing more to do than we've outran our hedge where we bought beans to set our price, so we have to go back in the market. So we are going up, but we're keeping the window open for any of you that have not purchased to be able to get in at the old price. That's till February 1st, so contact your local Mershman seed dealer if you want to take advantage of that. If there's nothing else, I'll conclude with last week I kind of overachieved on the corny joke. This week I got one, okay? What do you call a paper airplane that can't fly or doesn't fly? It can't fly.
Piece of paper.
We're close, Tommy. So a paper airplane that can't fly. It's called stationary.
Oh.
Yep.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for your business, and continue to wish that you and your family are healthy, and we hope that 2021 will continue to be a good year for you, and we'll see you next week. Take care.